knocked away, picked up by Andre from three-quarters court, and he hit it! He had his eyes on the prize and let it fly!
Hey, what's going on, all you Tanimals out there? It's another episode of the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on the Vendetta Sports Network. We are streaming live, as always, from our Twitch account, Vendetta Sports Network. So, obviously, you know that because you're watching us on Twitch right now live. And if you're catching us on the rebroadcast on YouTube, or if you're listening to the rebroadcast on our podcast, we appreciate you, but we ask you to check us out live on Twitch. And if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, please consider subscribing to us. Joining me as always is the Robin to my Batman, Jefferson Legal himself, Jackson Law. J Law, how the hell are you, man?
Doing good, man. Like I said, I have fully embraced the Jefferson Legal label. It is my wrestling alter ego. That's what I'm going to go with.
So if there's a Ready to Rumble Part 2, you're going to be in it.
You better believe Jefferson Legal's there.
I love it.
Now, if they ever make a well-functioned WWE game again, best believe Jefferson Legal series is going to be on the YouTube. 100%.
I love it. I love it a lot. That's awesome. And you know what? That's something that I'm actually waiting for, because I think, isn't it supposed to be this year we're supposed to be getting a new WWE game?
I can't remember, but it's like the last WWE game I remember having fun with was like 2008.
Yeah, I had the most recent one, the one with I think it's like WWE 2K20 with Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns on the cover. And yeah, I wasn't feeling that one at all.
Nah.
And I was really, I was glad that I waited until it was on sale to get it. Because if I would have bought it like first thing, I would have been pissed. Like for sure. But here's hoping, man. Here's hoping, because now you got AEW. They're going to have a new game coming out next year.
Yeah.
Which that should push the WWE and well, it's not THQ anymore. It's
it's 2K.
It's 2K. Hopefully that'll push 2K to start doing what they need to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's any good, Jefferson Legal series,
I'm all for it.
People want it.
We'll see. I'll be all for it. I'm trying to figure out. I keep saying this, but we're gonna have to do it. You got to show me how I can set up the Twitch and everything so I can stream from my Xbox. Because now, for those who don't recall, Brutal Legend was a game that was voiced by Jack Black, and it is it is like an ode to metal. And I was like, I should probably stream this.
It's Tenacious D, the video game. That's what it is.
Pretty much. Like, it is so much fun. But it was like, I don't know how to stream because Jefferson Legal didn't show me how to set this up yet.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and for those who don't, if you have games with gold while it's still a thing, I definitely suggest you go in there now, because you can get Darksiders 3 for free. Are you a Darksiders fan, Jefferson Legal?
I've never played any of the Darksiders games, but I understand like how good they are and how people love them.
Yeah,
and so
I started playing the first one, and I kind of lost it, because the thing is, Darksiders is much in the same vein. It's a hack and slash, much like God of War, except you play as one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So I was playing the second one, and I can't remember what happened. You know how some of these games you kind of get stuck in a spot and there's no way to get away.
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped playing, but I do plan on going back to the original and playing that. But no, but we've got a lot to talk about. We have so much to talk about. We got a lot of NFL and NBA news. And next week, make sure you join us. Fingers crossed, we're gonna have our own NFL correspondent, Josh Taylor on. We're going to be talking all things training camp. We're going to be talking Steelers training camp, NFL training camp as a whole, because there's a lot to deal with. We couldn't get Josh on today because he's actually going to be covering the Hall of Fame game in 2 days. And I will be watching this game, Jefferson Legal. The Steelers and the Cowboys. Football is back. And
thank you, God in heaven, is all I can say, because this past week was the last week until the Super Bowl that there is not a football game on at some point throughout the week, whether if it's NFL, some sort of college game. We get football every week, and it's the best couple months of the year.
It really is. I enjoy it. And I can't, and let's, I already mentioned the Steelers, so we're going to lead off, and I'm going to open this up. This is actually a story written by our own Scott Logish, who's a fellow Steeler fan, same as I am. And he has this take. The Steelers Super Bowl window. A lot of Steeler
fans on the site. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's just kind of weird. It's like the Steelers is like the number one team on the site.
Because they're awesome.
And it's like it makes sense for you because you grew up and live in the Pennsylvania area. One's from Canada and the other one lives near Denver. Like, how does that make sense?
Hey, Steelers Nation spreads wide, baby. Steelers Nation spread wide. But Scott had this to say. He said that the Steelers Super Bowl window is welded shut. I like the wordplay that he used there too. I think that was awesome.
Very clever. Very clever.
Yeah, he says the Steelers have no shot at winning the Super Bowl. Everyone in the division has gotten better but them. The Ravens have gotten weapons for Lamar Jackson. Bengals are getting back Joe Burrow, and he's getting some weapons. The Browns are developing their young core, and they just brought in Jadeveon Clowney to be on the other side of Myles Garrett, which makes that a very frightening defensive line. And they're saying, and he said that the Melvin Ingram signing to be on the opposite side of TJ Watt, that's not enough. What do you think, Jackson?
Jefferson Jackson? I like the Melvin Ingram signing. Probably not the player that he was when he was with the Chargers, but still a decent signing nonetheless. But I agree that it's nice and it makes things a little bit better. But when you go from top to bottom, there is the argument that the Steelers are probably the fourth team in the division. Now it's going to be one of the toughest divisions in football. And Scott's right when he talks about how better the other teams have gotten. Now, I would say like the other argument there is like the Steelers might be better than the Bengals still right now. Just because the Bengals got better doesn't mean that they're better than the Steelers per se in this very moment in time. But the Steelers are just kind of caught in this weird in-between stage from an older regime with Ben Roethlisberger and then the new kids that are coming into town. And it's difficult because, you don't want to disappoint your fans and you don't want to put up like 2 or 3 stinker of seasons to try to rebuild your team. You want to perform and you just want to play a hard-nosed football, which is the Steelers' way of doing it, going out there and just trying to win games.
Right.
But at the same time, you run the risk of grabbing mid to late first rounders, and it's pretty tough to win if you're not able to draft and grab some of the cream of the crop of the new players that are coming into the league and attracting big time free agents. Najee Harris was a fantastic pickup of a player, even though a lot of us here at Vendetta, including a lot of Steelers fans, were like, we need to go offensive line. So, I mean, I probably agree that it's sealed shut for now, but who knows? 10 years from now, anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I really do believe that, I mean, look, I was highly critical of the Najee Harris, of his drafting because, yeah, I was saying we need to shore up the offensive line. It doesn't matter who you have in the backfield with Ben Roethlisberger if you can't keep Ben Roethlisberger upright and if you can't make a hole for the running back to run through. And I even said, as great as his film is from Alabama, the Steelers' offensive line was the worst offensive line in the league last year. It was horrible. And if he has nowhere to run to, it doesn't matter how powerful of a runner he is. He's not getting anywhere. But I mean, the kid Green, who's the center out of Illinois, I mean, he's supposed to be a beast. He's supposed to be a monster. And then you got Chooks Okafor back, and he's coming back. You've got Zach Banner coming back, and so on and so forth. But I mean, there's still a lot that needs to be done on that offensive line. Hopefully, they can shore up and do well in a Matt Canada offense. But as a Steeler fan, I hate to have to admit, but I think Scott has a point. I think that at least for the next, I think that what you're going to need to do is you got to maybe take this year, get Zach Banner a full season as a starter, get Chooks a solid season, and get Green a good season. And then you've got to get 2 more guys on there with them so they can gel with. And then I think get Dwayne Haskins used to the offense, because I'm calling it now. Dwayne Haskins is the #1 next year. I don't even think Mason Rudolph is on the roster next year. I really don't.
It's possible. I mean, and then speaking of quarterbacks, I don't think the Steelers will not progress. They're delaying the inevitable of them becoming kind of one of the lower level teams. Again, they can always, bring themselves out of it if they play their cards right. They have in past times. Obviously, they have won 2 Super Bowls in this past millennium since the turn of
in the last 20 years. Yeah,
they've been to 3 Super Bowls.
They've been to 3 Super Bowls and they won 2. They are 2-1 in the last 21 years in Super Bowls.
Exactly, and those turnarounds even happened in the Ben Roethlisberger era, but they keep holding on to Big Ben. You got to let the man go. You have to rip the Band-Aid off now and suffer the short-term pain, because the more you delay it, the more you delay finding your quarterback of the future. Whether if it is Dwayne Haskins, this year, maybe, that's fine. Get him accustomed to the system. But if Big Ben is still on the roster next year, which I have no idea if he's going to be or not, I can't even remember exactly what his contract looks like. I'm pretty sure they restructured it. But
Ben Roethlisberger did take a restructured deal to be able to open up some cap room. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
basically, it's been said that Ben can play as long as he wants.
Yeah, and see, that's bad. That's a bad sign for Steelers fans, because that is delaying working out different quarterbacks. And in the eventuality that you just suck and you're one of the 5 worst teams in the league, then maybe you land a stud quarterback in the next 2-3 seasons.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I really think that, now you guys heard me talk about this before, that there's no loyalty in sports. And I still hold by that for the most, 98% of the time. That's true. But when you come to a point where you see you have an aging quarterback, your team isn't going to progress, there is a such thing as being loyal to a fault. And now, unless Ben is able to show you something this season, the whole regular season, and he's able to get you a win in the postseason, then you can say, well, all right, play as long as you want. Because, I mean, Tom Brady is getting that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tom Brady just won a Super Bowl, so it kind of do whatever he wants.
But also the one thing is, and I certainly do not want to hype on the Ben Roethlisberger hate, because I kind of went off on this on Twitter, saying how people are sitting there and they're trying to body shame Ben Roethlisberger, saying, "Oh, that's in shape," blah 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 blah. For Ben, it is. Ben is a much bigger human being than Tom Brady is. Tom Brady's like what, 6'2"? He came into the league at like 210, 220. He stayed in that 210, 220 range. Ben Roethlisberger is a big 6'5", 230, 240 pounds. He's always been that big. Let's see, that's GOAT person comes out to say, Ben had a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio last season. Where did this thought come from that he's washed and Pittsburgh should move on? And that's another good point. I'm not saying that he's washed up. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that they need to start thinking about moving on. they need to start thinking about the aspect of this guy isn't necessarily springtime anymore. He's not. And you need to start looking to the future. Now, I'm really hoping that Dwayne Haskins is them looking to the future. I'm a huge, matter of fact, didn't I say it last year, Jackson, when I said that when they benched Dwayne Haskins or when they cut him, I said, I want the Steelers to either get him or Sam Darnold. We didn't get Sam Darnold, but we got Dwayne Haskins. I got my wish. So I'm hoping that's what it is. And, speaking of Ben Roethlisberger and Dwayne Haskins, it said here that Coach Tomlin confirmed today Mason Rudolph is the starter in the Hall of Fame game. And Ben Roethlisberger, Cameron Hayward, and Joe Hayden and some other veterans will not be dressing at all. Yep. Garrett and I are on the same page.
Yeah. And
I think that Dwayne Haskins sitting behind Ben for a year and learning and growing in that mature environment is going to make him, he's going to be our future. I'm saying it right now. Dwayne Haskins is our future. But I'm okay. Are you okay with Mason Rudolph sort of getting the starting nod? Mason Rudolph is going to start the game. Dwayne Haskins is going to mop up the first half. So he's playing all the second quarter. And then you got Josh Dobbs playing the entire second half. Are you okay with Mason Rudolph starting, even though Dwayne Haskins has clearly outplayed him, according to camp reports, Jackson?
I mean, I guess the thinking behind it is that Rudolph knows the system better, and so that'll be better reps for the first team, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, it's the preseason, so I wouldn't take anything seriously. They're trying to figure it out. They probably, I mean, if everything goes well and Haskins performs well in mop up duty, and if Rudolph is kind of staggering a little bit, then I could see them do a flop where maybe Haskins will obviously get reps with the first team, but then, is Ben even going to play in the preseason? I have no idea. They may try to preserve his old body for the regular season, especially with now they have an added game in the regular season without an extra bye week. So that's just an extra week of punishment to put on an aging body already. This goes for all veterans in the league, by the way.
Right.
But I mean, I don't take it as anything. I just take it as Rudolph's been there longer, so he kind of gets the first shot at it. But if Haskins is outperforming him, then in like 2 weeks, maybe we'll see Haskins in that role too. Or if Rudolph just implodes in the game, then maybe Haskins takes over quicker than what they wanted to, and he's kind of the de facto backup behind Ben.
So now, with that being said, hold on, it's not what I wanted. We've gotten word last week, and we got it confirmed that Carson Wentz is having foot surgery.
Disappointing.
5 to 12 weeks. Well, for one, Jackson, it's better that it happens now than it happens week 5.
That's true. No, that's true.
6. So even if worse comes to worse, he's out for 3 months. He's back in early November.
Yeah, he's back with over half the season, over half the season left to play.
So there's still plenty of time. Now, this was a football-related accident. He twinged when he planted to throw on Thursday, is what it's being said. Now, this is supposed to be an old injury. It's a formerly broken bone that came loose in his foot when he planted to throw. Do you think that this is a sign of bad things to come? Do you think the Colts need to get into panic mode and get another quarterback in here now? Or do you think this is one of those freak things that kind of happens? Because, I mean, what the hell? Dak Prescott's injury, that was kind of a freak occurrence.
And he tweaked his shoulder too. Dak Prescott did. So he's, I think, out for a little bit. I don't know how long. Probably not too long, I would imagine. But for Wentz, it's just upsetting, man, because I'm rooting for Wentz. I think Wentz is still a good quarterback. I think that the Colts is probably going to be his best opportunity to try to get back to a Super Bowl. and then back to like his, potentially MVP self that he was a few years back. I hope it's not a sign of bad things to come. I'm hoping that there's a compromise and he comes back like somewhere in the middle. I think it's all going to kind of depend on how the first couple weeks go for the Colts. The Colts have a great team. They have a great defense and a great offense, great running game that can probably get them through the first 2, 3, 4 weeks of the NFL season. I think probably around that 3 to 4 week range. If Wentz already isn't back, but he has shown signs of improvement, depending on where they're at. Like if they go first 4 weeks and they split it 2-2, maybe they're just like, okay, it's fine, but if they go like 1-3 or something like that, or they're 1-2 and they got a tough matchup coming up, then it's maybe they're like, okay, we really got to see about getting Wentz back out there.
Right. Dak Prescott, as it stands right now, he won't be playing in the Hall of Fame game this week. He's essentially day to day. It's assumed that he went through an MRI. Basically, he tried to throw before he was really warmed up. So, and one last thing before
always stretch. You always got
to stretch.
Light exercise, then stretch, and then a little bit more and slowly build up and then go full blast.
Well, if he was doing DDP yoga, he wouldn't have hurt himself.
There you go.
And real quick, before we take our first break, Joe Judge is pissed off after a brawl breaks out in Giants camp. Matter of fact, let's talk a little bit about this, because it seems like the New York Football Giants are starting to run into some issues already. We're going to talk about that. And I want to ask you this, Jackson, and I want you to wait to answer. Do you think that Kelvin Benjamin sort of had a point when he was being critical of Joe Judge? Mull on that. I want you guys watching to mull on that for a second. We're going to talk about that in a minute. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show. We are streaming live exclusively on twitch.tv. Make sure you share, and subscribe to us. Share us out to your friends as well. Twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. We'll be right back. One of our sponsors.
The following is brought to you in partnership by Symbol. Symbol is a new sports marketplace where you can trade shares of professional teams like stocks. You love sports. You interested in fantasy sports without the weekly annoyance of fantasy league upkeep? Then Symbol's the app for you. With Symbol, fantasy sports is going to a whole other level. How it works is simple. You buy Symbol shares for your favorite sim teams on the app. When your sim team wins, you get automatic cash deposits, and you don't lose any money when they lose. That's it. So if you follow trends across football, basketball, and baseball, and you think your team is a sleeper, simply invest in your favorite sim teams on Symbol and watch your virtual portfolio prove you right or wrong. And if you want to get in on the action right away, Vendetta Sports Media's got you covered. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and use our exclusive promo code Vendetta, and you'll get a $10 bonus when making your first deposit. Symbol, taking fantasy sports to a whole other level.
I love that. I love that one. I really do. All right, so we're back. Do you think Jackson Law now? Keep in mind, and Courtney, if you can find the story where Kelvin Benjamin ripped into Joe Judge. Kelvin Benjamin got cut. He wasn't even there for he didn't even make it the first week.
No.
Of training camp. And he had some parting shots for Joe Judge, but now here's this brawl going out. Basically, apparently, from what reports are saying, Corey Clement got drilled by Jabril Peppers and Evan Ingram. And then there was retaliation. Logan Ryan shoved the tight end from behind, and everyone just decided to dive into the scrum. And then the judge, after the brawl, made all the players and coaches run from goal line and do push-ups.
Yeah, I was reading a Twitter thread on that from someone that is an insider for the Giants and covers them. And he was just like the Twitter feed just kept going on and on. And it's like, this guy's like, I've never seen Joe Judge this angry. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone this angry. And it was like Joe Judge, it was just like on a cursing spree. He's got all the players lined up. They're doing push-ups. They're running goal line to goal line. It's basically, like what would happen, in high school. You acted out in high school. And then the coach was just making you run. And then at the end of it, he kicked all of the assistant coaches. He told them to leave, and it was just Judge and the entire team. And he just sat there basically yelling at them and then finally told them to leave.
Yeah. Now, do you think that Kelvin Benjamin had a point? Because basically Judge told him that he needed to be down to about the Judge and the Giants the heads of the Giants, the big guys of the Giants, told him they wanted him to get down to about 250. He showed up at 265. And then, no, wait.
Yeah, so
he weighed in at 265 at the end of minicamp.
Mhm.
They asked him to get down to 250. He showed up for training camp at 268. Now, he said that he put on muscle and he passed all of the club's conditioning tests. But then Judge came to him and called him out, and then he was cut. So do you think between this Kelvin Benjamin issue and now this big brawl, do you think that Kelvin Benjamin had a point, or is Joe Judge bringing back some of the no-nonsense football back to the New York Football Giants?
Oh, it sounds to me like Joe Judge is about no-nonsense football. Like, specifically with what happened today, the incident with the brawl that happened, and that there was also in that thread, it was talking about how your starting quarterback was at the bottom of the pile. He got dragged in and somehow got tossed into the bottom of the pile. So and he's already an injury-prone quarterback. Daniel Jones coming off an injury. So if I'm a head coach, that could be the only thing I'm livid about. Is like, don't you drag your starting quarterback into this?
He's got a red shirt on for a reason, guys.
Exactly. It's like that just can't happen. Talking to Anthony Fontanello, who's another guy who does a podcast on the site. I used to do a podcast with him on the site. He's a big New York Giants fan, and you talk to him, and it's like, even though Daniel Jones isn't that guy per se, not yet, he may not ever be. We don't know yet, but there was a change in the efficiency of the offense when he went out, in the way that Judge and that offense functioned and used him. So I just see this as getting their heads right. I don't know what was said, but if it's as angry as I'm thinking that it is, he's, scolding them for basically acting childish and diva-ish, because it was like one of the defensive players yelled at Ingram. It's like, it said like catch a ball, Butterfingers, or like, butter something along the lines of that, just saying that he can't catch a ball, and they were yapping at each other back and forth. And it's nothing that's constructive for a team that's, trying to go out and compete. As for the Kelvin Benjamin thing, I would like to know if all of that was like on par with other positions, because and specifically when you were asking about it, I was thinking about offensive linemen, how they're obviously much bigger human beings and have a lot more weight on them. Those dudes can weigh up over 300 pounds.
Right.
But they could still pass all the physicals at over 300 pounds. They can still be athletic and do everything, but there's a certain weight that's usually in these contracts that it's like, we want you to get down to this weight so that way you can function properly, because the more weight you have and you're running at full speeds like that, puts some wear and tear on your body, and you're going to hurt yourself. So it's not just necessarily for the team's sake, it's for your own sake. Lose 15 pounds so that way you don't turn on a route and all of a sudden your knee explodes.
Right. Yeah, last thing we need is for you to be Kyle Broflovsky after his blackoplasty or whatever that was in that episode of South Park. Did you ever see that episode when Kyle became black?
No,
and they made him tall so he could play basketball, and he had Garrison's balls in his knees. And when he went to go dunk, he dunked it and came down in his knees, and the balls exploded.
Oh,
oh God, that's just too funny. My memories. All right, so I'm very excited. We're very excited for the upcoming NFL season. There's going to be a lot of amazing storylines. I can't wait. So let's shift to the NBA. Now, I've made the decision, and it was based on the NBA, so you and I could talk basketball a lot better, and your expert analysis doesn't sound as wasted on someone who's just a casual fan. So I'm going to be watching a lot more football, a lot more basketball, a lot more hockey, so that way when young Andrew and Emma come on, I can talk with them, and so on and so forth. So I've started to pay attention to the NBA free agency, and I remember how fun the offseason is in professional sports, man.
It's like a whole nother season onto itself. It's some of the best drama on TV because a person goes somewhere that you weren't expecting. You're just like, what? And then you're just like, the possibilities of what this means.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about that. All right. First and foremost, Carmelo Anthony has signed a 1-year deal with the Lakers. Matter of fact, let me go to the Lakers. See what the Lakers have done.
The Lakers have done everything, man. So it started last week, the day of the draft, which was Thursday, I want to say. They make a trade. They send Kyle Kuzma and I'm forgetting who else they sent. They sent them in a first-round pick to Washington. And they got Russell
Westbrook.
Exactly. So
I don't understand. I don't understand that at all because Westbrook loves to handle the ball. Mm-hmm. He doesn't like to facilitate. And you put him on a team with LeBron and the Brow.
Yeah, there's too many ball dominant players, and it's easy to say. Because a report came out where apparently, like in the weeks leading up to this past week, Russell Westbrook was in contact with LeBron, even went to LeBron's house in Los Angeles and basically broke bread with LeBron and AD. And they were, singing Kumbaya and, talking about, like AD's like, oh, I'll move to the 5. It's like, AD, you're not moving to the 5, dude. You're too soft of a person to move to the 5. Your skin is made of paper and your bones are made of like Dasani water bottles. Okay. They're going to crumple. Woo! All right. And then LeBron's like, I'll move to the 4. It's like LeBron, when it comes to it, you're going to try to take the ball and try to make the last shot. And then, of course, Westbrook's like, I'll play off ball. And it's like, dude, you're a 30% career 3-point shooter. You're not going to be a great 2 guard. Okay. You played with a great 2 guard and Bradley Beal that could play off the ball. You're not, trust me, pal, you're not that guy. You are not that guy. Mm-hmm. And then they decided to turn the Lakers into the NBA retirement home. Because of the ages of some of these players.
Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza. I mean, that's an old team, right? That's an older team.
It is very old. And here's another thing, and I keep getting reminded of it every year. The cap is a mythical, like it's like a unicorn. It doesn't exist. It's a myth. Okay, because they get all of these players. They trade for a big contract in Russell Westbrook, and then they go out and they also sign Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, and then they extend Talon Horton-Tucker. How do they do that?
They don't give a damn about luxury tax, man.
Apparently not. It's like championships overall, but my gosh, dude. That's insane.
No, I agree. And now you've got Carmelo Anthony, another guy who he likes to handle the ball, man. I mean, yeah, he's getting older, but he wants to handle the ball. He wants to be able to score. Question is, do you think Russell Westbrook, eliminate, because Dwight Howard knows he's not going to be the guy. He knows that. Trevor Ariza knows that. Do you think Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook will be able to play ball for 82 games to get into the playoffs? To get that ring? Is this just...
I mean, if they don't win a championship, this is one of the greatest utter failures of all time.
Is it up there with the Dream Team Philadelphia Eagles?
Yes. I mean, they're obviously going to be the favorites, and anything short of a championship, not even a championship run, not you made it to the finals and you lost on the last second shot in game 7 in triple overtime. If you aren't the ones hoisting the trophy at the end of the game when it's all said and done, and you're the ones with the parades, then it's a failure. And then in the Nets, you see, I would say the Nets too, but I think it's got to be, I think the Lakers will probably end up being the favorites when the season rolls around because of all these moves. Now, they did get some great young players. Kendrick Nunn, great young player. Malik Monk, I think, is underrated in some people's eyes. So, and it's just obviously they've got LeBron and they've got AD. So they're obviously going to be one of two teams that is favored to win. And the other one is the Nets. And if the Nets stay fully healthy, then we can have that conversation on whichever one doesn't win the title, how big of a disappointment it was.
Well, let's talk about this. Now, I was a huge Bulls fan as a kid. Then Jordan retired, and then, you got a couple of guys who didn't pan out. Then you got Derrick Rose, and that was amazing, and then he gets hurt, and then he's gone. Now, the Bulls, they got Zach LaVine, and he's an amazing player. Even I know that. But he's had no help. Can't say that anymore. Lonzo Ball, in a sign and trade deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans are just stockpiling people at this point. The Bulls sent Tomas Satoransky and Garrett Temple and a second-round pick to the Pelicans, and then Ball comes in and signs a 4-year, $85 million contract. Now, keep in mind, and it hasn't been made official yet. Details are still being made, but the Bulls also made a deal for DeMar DeRozan. All of a sudden, Zach LaVine's got help in the Windy City. Not to mention the fact that Alex Caruso.
I think they really overpaid for a guy that averages 6 points a game.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying. If you're telling me I could get a $30+ million contract by averaging 6 points in the NBA, I'd be yes. I'd say yes. My instant answer is yes. I was like, you would have had me at like $2 million to average
600,000.
Exactly.
Well, do you think that the Chicago Bulls are going with an NFL idea and an old school NBA idea of defense wins the game? And we just got
potentially,
yeah. They like his defense. So this guy doesn't have to score. What's he play? He's a point guard, right?
He's a guard, yeah. Guard.
All right. So if DeMar DeRozan is probably going to play the 3, Zach LaVine's going to play. No, wait. DeMar DeRozan's going to be at the 3. Zach LaVine's going to stay at the 2. Lonzo Ball's going to be at the point. And then you're going to have Alex Caruso coming in off the bench unless you move these guys up.
Yeah, I think they come off. I think they come off the bench. I think he comes off the bench because you've got Vucevic at the 5. And honestly, at the 4, I don't know because they've extended the qualifying offer to Lauri Markkanen, but they haven't really shown a commitment to keeping him all that much. So they may opt for Patrick Williams, who was their 4th overall pick. And not this past draft, but the previous draft in 2020's draft. Mm-hmm. But I like them. I think they're a playoff team in the East. I think they fall anywhere between like 4, 5, and 6.
So maybe. Long as LeVar stays out of the locker room.
I think LeVar will stay out of the locker room. I think Lonzo
and
his younger brother have done a pretty good job in recent years to keep him distance. And of course, ESPN, even they decided that they didn't want to keep giving him airtime because, when your ratings are tanking, like, First Takes are, you kind of want those people there. But even they're like, no, we're not gonna hype this guy up anymore.
Right. Your man, Michael Connolly is re-signing with the Utah Jazz. 3 years, $68 million. You think that's a good idea for the Jazz to make that commitment?
It's a lot of money for an aging point guard, but he's been playing great for them. And good Lord, was he lighting it up from three this past season, especially in the playoffs against his former team, which really hurt because, where was that for the previous dozen years? But no hard feelings. Happy for him though. He gets his bag once again. So congratulations to him is all I got to say.
And I agree with Courtney. The Bulls do need a big. They're going to need us. Who's a big out there, Jackson? Do you think that the Bulls could go after in free agency, or are they just going to have to make it work with their draft pick?
I'd have to look and see who's left available.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, let me move on a little bit. Evan Fournier is getting a 4-year deal worth up to $78 million with the Knicks. Good idea or bad idea?
Say that again. Who was that?
Evan Fournier.
Evan Fournier. They gave him the bag. He got a lot of money, and I get it that he averaged around 20 points a game, but that is a lot of money for Evan Fournier. They saw him play in the Olympics, and they're like, get that man the bag. We'll give it to him.
So do you think that him and Derrick Rose are going to make an effective backcourt? Because he just re-signed for a 3-year, $43 million deal.
Yeah, I mean, Rose has kind of had a resurgence in his career with his second stint with the Knicks. So I liked the Knicks re-signing. I think the Knicks have done some odd things. I think they've done some good and some bad things this offseason, and or just some questionable things, not necessarily bad, but just some questionable things. But I mean, Tibb got them to the 4th seed last year. So and they're pretty much running it back, and they added shooting. So that's kind of what they needed to do. And now all you just need is consistency, from everyone else because Rose was the best player in that series against Atlanta in the first round. And Julius Randle, who was kind of their best player all year, he got locked up and he kind of disappeared in the series. He couldn't buy a bucket, which, is expected when you go into a playoff series. Okay, our number one guy is probably not going to be, he's probably not going to get as open. So we need everyone else to step up, and no one else really stepped up.
All right. We're going to talk some more about the NBA free agency, but we got to take a break. That's what I'm being yelled at in our private chat. So this is the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on twitch.tv on the Vendetta Sports Media channel. We'll be right back for our final segment of the evening. We'll be right back.
The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags, or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the U.K., go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers.
All right, we're back for the final segment of the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports, the Vendetta Sports Media channel here on twitch.tv. I got to quit saying Vendetta Sports Media Network. So where were we? All right, so Steph Curry, a 4-year, $215 million.
This is his second $200 million deal.
Largest annual salary in NBA history. Hey, when you're the best shooter of all time.
Yeah. All I got to say is it sucks to live in California with that, because that contract, all that money is just getting soaked right up.
All that money.
Taxes.
So after tax, he's only bringing home about $80 million bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Only. He needs to move it to his residency to a deep red state where there's no taxes, but he could still live in California.
Yeah, but the problem is he does that and he's going to be there all by himself because the whole state's going to be dead from COVID.
I mean, really low taxes then.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris Paul, the point guard, re-signing with the Suns, 4 years, $120 million.
That's a bad contract.
That is a bad contract.
The The man is going to be getting paid $40 million when he's 40 years old.
Yeah, that's
this one's probably the number one bad contract. And then I would say the Jimmy Butler one is really up there too, because by the time he's like 36, I think I saw he's going to be making upwards of $50 million in his final year of that contract. He's going to be 36.
I wish Steph Curry would donate some money for Vendetta. Hey, Steph Curry, we're talking you up here, dog. Can you pick us up 1 to 3 mil? You
want to invest?
Yeah, why don't you invest in Vendetta Sports Media? I'll wear a Steph Curry jersey. I'll wear Steph Curry draws.
Yeah, I get a tattoo.
There you go. But yeah, Jimmy Butler, man. 4 years, $184 million. Yeah. And then, of course, Kyle Lowry, 3-year contract extension with the Heat. Well, actually, no, it was a sign and trade with the Raptors. So he's he's taking his talents down to South Beach to join Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that's also a lot of money for an aging point guard. A lot of money, a lot of big money getting tossed around to vets. Good to be a vet in this cycle.
Not just for the vets, J-Law. Trae Young, 5 years, $207 million.
All you got to do is take your team to the playoff once, and you get the bag.
That's only if he makes All NBA next season.
Mm-hmm.
If not, only $170 million. So he gets a $37 million raise if he makes All NBA.
Man, you know he's going to be balling out next season to try to get All NBA. But then I didn't see it on here either. But speaking of his extensions, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Oklahoma City, he got the max extension that he can for his level contract. It's like 4-year 175, I think, 5-year 175, something like that.
Now we have a comment that Atlanta's going to live to regret that contract. And here's my thing on that. If you're paying him $207 million throughout the life of his contract, over a 5-year deal, let me break out my my machine here, my supercomputer. 207 divided by 5, that's $41.5 million a year. How are you going to get someone in so that he's not doing the job alone?
Well, you see, already they're kind of doing that already, because I've got a list of the top available free agents, and one of them on there is John Collins. He's a promising young prospect. They have his bird right, so I don't see why they wouldn't offer him a contract, but they've extended him the qualifying offer, and they haven't approached him with anything, and he's a great young player. I don't get why they didn't extend him and Trae Young.
Yeah, I don't understand, when you're putting all this money out there, how are you going to get some help in there unless you just figure I can just draft somebody? But if playing NBA 2K has taught me anything, is that it's hard to get a real good player in the draft sometimes. Oh, Joe Compton. Joe Compton coming in. He thinks Oladipo would be a perfect fit down there in hot Atlanta.
There's still a lot of free agents left. Here's the free agency list, by the way. So it starts off with Kawhi Leonard, but I think he's just kind of holding off right now.
He's going to stay in LA.
I think he's staying in LA. There's no other rumors or news, because trust me, if there were rumors going around that Kawhi was leaving, we would all know about it. All right. But free agents, you've got Dennis Schroeder, Kelly Oubre, Reggie Jackson, Victor Oladipo, Josh Hart, Andre Iguodala, Lauri Markkanen, Lou Williams, Paul Millsap, Danny Green, JJ Redick, John Collins, Jared Dudley, Boogie Cousins, Hassan Whiteside, Wesley Matthews, Enes Kanter, and Avery Bradley. Now, to go back to our Bulls talk, I honestly think if they want like a tried and true big, they should try to go get Enes Kanter. Or if they want to slide someone in that 4 spot, then Paul Millsap has actually been okay the past couple of years, as long as you can get him for a good deal.
I was going to say Millsap, Kanter, because I know what about Boogie? You think he would work in a?
I don't know. I think Boogie
Think
is
he's done? You think he's done?
I think he's past it all, I think.
Fair enough. I mean, I honestly don't see. Do you think now? I love this here. If Kawhi went back to San Antonio, Alex Chick would be insufferable.
He's not going back. There's
going back there.
Kawhi is never going to forgive Pop for what happened in that organization.
And I don't see Kawhi going to Golden State. Number one, Golden State ain't going to be able to afford him.
No, no, not unless the owners want to pay like $200 million in the luxury tax.
Oh man. And you know what? We were just talking about that, Joe Compton. Your Lakers.
The Lakers, how they're the retirement home, yeah.
Now, this would have been a monster team 8 years ago.
Oh gosh, 4 years ago.
4 years. I mean, Jesus, if you could have gotten 2010 Dwight Howard on a team with LeBron and Carmelo Anthony, no one's beating that team. No one.
It's we never got the banana boat team. We never got the banana boat crew. It's I guess it's sad, question mark.
All right, let's finish out. Markieff Morris is going to the Heat. Rudy Gay going to the Jazz. Andre Drummond going to the Sixers. Now that's the one. Now, have you heard that Drummond and Joel Embiid had beef?
Yeah. They Embiid's had beef with everybody.
Yeah, fair enough. And Patty Mills is going to the Nets.
Thank God he's off the Celtics. Patty Mills is a Grizz killer, and I'm happy I don't have to see that man 4 times a year anymore. Thank you, basketball gods. Thank you, Patty Mills. Thank you to the front office of the Nets for offering him that contract. Go kill other teams. Go pop off for 25, 30 points randomly, after like 7 or 8 straight single-digit games. I'm sick of it happening to the Grizzlies.
So here are my teams to watch this season. I'll be keeping my eyes on the Bulls. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on the Lakers because they're the Lakers. And after the atrocity that was Space Jam, A New Generation or whatever the hell it was,
yeah.
I just want to see LeBron crash and burn. Not that I hate LeBron. I just don't like LeBron. I'll be keeping my eyes on the Nets because I'm sorry, I like Durant more than I like LeBron, to be honest. And I want to see what he's going to do with a Shut Your Filthy Whore Mouth. It was not a great movie. You shut your filthy whore mouth. But no, I'll be watching out of the East. I'll be watching the NBA champs, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be watching the Bulls. I'll be watching the Nets, and I'll be watching the Sixers. In the West, it'll be the Lakers, the Clips, the Warriors, and the Suns.
Yeah, obviously West for me, Grizzlies, of course. But definitely like the other team I'll be paying really close attention to is the Bulls. I hope there's a lot of Bulls games that are on TV. Man,
well, if you have WGN, you'll be able to watch them all the way you want. I should have WGN. I should have WGN.
I don't think I do. I don't have cable.
I'm supposed to have a pseudo sports package. I'm supposed to.
Well,
I got talked into by the Verizon sales rep that if I got this particular package goes along with the Fios Giga something or whatever. So, I didn't know that DeMar DeRozan was a Cancer. I was not aware of that. I guess that's my fault.
He's not really. That's just Trey.
Trey just hates.
Trey is hockey guy. Trey, so don't listen to his basketball takes.
Trey just
don't take basketball advice.
Trey doesn't like people whose names have like a death.
This is the guy whose team missed out on. Didn't take Miles Turner, got Tristan Thompson, and then said Tristan Thompson is the answer for the Celtics, and now he hates Tristan Thompson.
Oh, And you know what's crazy is that Courtney can throw shade at Trey's takes because she was right about Jay Crowder.
She did not have to apologize.
She did not have to apologize.
We quit on the Raptors.
He quit because he quit on the Raptors because he was scared of LeBron. Ooh.
I think LeBron just went beast mode. It was LeBronto or whatever they called it.
LeBronto. I love the fact that Joe Compton, shout out to Joe Compton from Go Indy Now, says that DeMar DeRozan's a loser, not a cancer. Oh man, see, this is why I like the hot takes on this show. This is awesome. Oh man, we got to get a Trey Joe Compton debate on the DeMar DeRozan. Oh man, you know what though? But here's what I think about DeMar DeRozan going to the Bulls. He's going to be going to a situation where they're just expecting them to be competitive, and Zach LaVine is going to be the one taking most of the heavy lifting, along with Lonzo Ball. All DeMar DeRozan has to do really is play his game. He doesn't have to be the guy.
Yeah, and they're not title contenders, so
they're not going to be title contenders, but they do have the ability to at least do something in their division and at least make it to the first round of the playoffs.
Here
we go. Here we go. Here we go. I love it. I love it. I'll tell you the truth. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait until I can start having some real serious hot takes. I really do. Like, I need to start getting more into different sports. I need to start getting more into wrestling as well. So I can really start, because we're going to start doing some wrestling talk as well, Jefferson Legal.
Yeah. Well, and Courtney does bring up a good point. He was on the Spurs. They're not a 3-point shooting team. And I'm bringing up his stat line right here. If you want to know, over 20 points a game, 50% from the field, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds a game. That's not a terrible stat line. And like I said, like these moves don't make the Wolves competitive in a sense that I think that they win a title, but I think that they make some noise. I hope they have a great run. I've been big on Zach LaVine for a long time. Okay.
Oh, I try to trade for him every time I do a franchise.
I've always been ahead. I've always been ahead of the curve when it's come to LaVine and the Bulls. I said he was going to be an all-star one year. He wasn't an all-star that year. He was the year after that. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then that year when he was becoming an all-star, I was like, okay, Bulls, they're going to be a playoff team. They may be a playoff team. LaVine, they don't make the playoffs last year, but this year they look like they're a playoff team.
So here's what I'm thinking. And I want your opinion on this, Jackson. Oh, man. Trey coming out firing on all cylinders. Do you think when I do my 2K live stream, should I just pick the Bulls as my franchise, or should I do a should I do a
go for
expansion?
Bulls.
Or should I do an expansion?
Go for Bulls, man. The Bulls are going to be fun. You got Zach LaVine, 41% 3-point shooter, career high last season, 27 points a game.
Yeah, that's true. I'll tell you the truth.
He sucks.
Oh, I love it. How is AEW the best wrestling company on the planet Earth right now? Because you don't have Triple H catering to Vince McMahon.
I don't watch wrestling, and I just get the idea that AWE is a better product right now, or AEW.
Here's the thing. The best thing that the WWE had going on was the Hurt Business. And they broke them up without an explanation, without a payoff. They just broke them up. Now, granted, MVP with Bobby Lashley is gold. Josh Taylor will back me up on that. Matter of fact, he said so as much on his radio show here in Pittsburgh. If you have if you ever have a chance to give our boy Josh Taylor some love, friend of the show, our regular monthly correspondent on NFL. He does a weekend radio show.
That's a lie, Trey, and you know that. You can't even type that with like a straight face. Sacramento more entertaining. Sacramento is NBA Siberia. That's where all.
I wasn't even aware they still had a team. You know what?
They're the one
that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. When I do a franchise
take them to Seattle
on NBA 2K, I'm going to take the Sacramento Kings and I'm going to move them to Seattle. That's what I'm going to do.
That's where they belong. If they're going to suck, they might as well be like a historic franchise and suck.
Right. But no, so here's my thing. Buddy Hield is more entertaining than any player. I don't even know who the hell that is.
Buddy Hield.
I don't know who that is.
I like Buddy Hield.
He's that guy.
He's a good guy. I mean, he's good.
But so here's what I'll say.
Luke Walton as their coach, though, so they're not going to do anything.
Now, here's the thing. Heel Roman Reigns is great. I love heel Roman Reigns. I love it. But the problem is, this is the issue I have. Roman Reigns as a heel should have happened 4 years ago. Heel Roman Reigns should have happened 4 years ago. Okay. Bobby Lashley, number one, this is the Bobby Lashley that I wanted to see back when he was in the WWE in 2000, when he was ECW champion, and he should have been the guy. So I think their world champion picture right now is great with Bobby Lashley with MVP and heel Roman Reigns. I think, though, them breaking up the Hurt Business was a horrible idea. Horrible idea. Because here's the thing.
Who do they have left to trade for him, though?
All right, so we're the best wrestler right now. I agree, but from
the comment section's getting out of hand.
I love it. From booking and storyline, AEW blows WWE out of the water. I agree. I absolutely agree. And I do need to get back to watching AEW. I absolutely do. Especially now, like I'm getting more of the sports bug back in me, Jackson Law.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I've been listening to a lot of wrestling podcasts, primarily with Tony Schiavone, who I was a big fan of Tony Schiavone as a kid. And so I'll probably listen to AEW just for having Tony Schiavone. Because I don't like what the WWE has for announce teams. Lakers can't afford. We're just all over the place, and I love it.
I love it. The comments are dictating the way the rest of the show goes.
Leaving Sacramento, I won't stay. I'm leaving Sacramento, but I'm sure to come back with the Lakers beat the Kings in May. The Rock's greatest hits. That's amazing. Oh man, that's awesome. But the whole fact of the matter is, the world champion picture right now in WWE is probably the best that it's been in years. And this is I was never a big fan. I was pissed off that they didn't do the brand extension that they did, and they didn't make it right. Now they're actually doing it kind of right, which I really, really like. They have it as two separate entities. I just don't like the fact that they brought Goldberg in. Unless they're going to feed Goldberg to Lashley to really establish his dominance, I'm not happy with it. I'm actually excited for the Finn Balor Roman Reigns stuff. I think that's going to be awesome. All right, so they can't make any sort of real trades up until January. All right, cool.
Yeah, I forget what the rule's called, but there is a rule there.
You know what? I think next week we're going to have Josh Taylor on. The week after that, I want to have some wrestling talk. All right? If you want to do some wrestling talk in 2 weeks, I say we're going to do a segment that's for wrestling, all right? Because we're going to be talking a lot of NFL and NBA. When is Emma Brown coming on the show? Emma Brown's probably going to come on the show. Unless she wants to talk basketball, she'll probably be back on the show when it comes to hockey season. Unless she wants to talk some wrestling. So you know what? I'm going to send a person. Yeah. I'm going to send a personal invite right now to Joe Compton to come on and let's talk some wrestling. And you know what? And whoever else wants to come on and talk wrestling. We have spots.
You can message her, Trey. She's in the
Slack.
Slack.
Why don't you message her? All right, fine. Garrett and Joe Compton, I have the invite to the both of you right now. 2 weeks from today. That would be the 17th. I want to talk some wrestling.
Olympics.
You know what? The Olympics didn't even make it into this episode to talk about. I'm done with the Olympics. The Olympics is nothing but a corrupt sham of politicism and hypocrisy. But they don't want any sort of statements of social justice. So you're okay with politics so long as it comes off as patriotism. But as soon as some real talk for social justice comes about, now you have an issue. And then you want to sit there and you want to throw shade at people that are trying to take care of their mental health and well-being, but you're going to sit there and celebrate domestic abusers and big overgrown crybabies. You know what I say about the Olympics? Boom. Right here. 2 for them. In case you have issues with sign language, here's 2 of them right for you.
Golf was fun to watch, though. I watched golf with my father-in-law all weekend.
Good for you and him. I'm glad that you guys are
That's like the only thing I've watched, though. That's like the only thing I've watched from the Olympics.
And apparently we just got word George Hill is signing with the Bucks. So the Bucks are adding numbers. They're adding people. Sounds like Conor McGregor supporters. Oh man. I will say this: Conor McGregor was really, really great in his time, but I think it's time. I think it's past. It's past his time. And I'll tell you the truth. I really want to start talking about Usman Covington too. I hope Usman breaks his jaw again, shatters his nose, and sends him back to Don Jr. crying tears of blood like a baby back bitch. And actually, I hope he puts him on his spinal column, not just on his back. I want him to punch him so hard that he knocks his spinal column out of his flesh and then has him lay on his back. Colby Covington is a joke. I can't stand the guy. I can't stand him. Not even close. Don't even say that in joking. Colby Covington, you know what? Yeah. Colby Covington can give me a mustache ride. Okay? F Colby Covington. You know what? I would cheer for
this podcast.
I would cheer for John Rocker before I would cheer for Colby Covington. And I would love to throw John Rocker into the fires of Mount Doom because him and Colby Covington are both the one ring of Sauron. All right? What the hell has happened to this show?
Tell us how you really feel about it, Brian.
I would like to hit Colby Covington and John Rocker with some Mortal Kombat style action.
There you go.
Okay?
Finishing.
That's what I would like to do. I would like to just go up to them and give them the Liu Kang freaking bicycle kick.
There you go.
Finish him. And then just do the oh man.
Wow. That was great.
Colby Covington he might be a good fighter, but he's a POS, and I like seeing him get his bell rung. I love it. I need it. I love it. I want more of it. Usman is pound for pound the best currently, but you know what? I would like to see Colby Covington think he's tough, go down a weight class and fight Israel Adesanya, and just watch Israel Adesanya just own him too. And then I want to see Colby Covington go up a couple of weight classes and fight Francis Ngannou. I want to see him get beat by the trifecta of Nigerian Rage. So, yeah. Please be sure to support our sponsors. Much thanks and love to Monkey Knife Fight. Make sure you go to monkeyknifefight.com if you live in a state that allows you to do sports gambling online. Jackson and I cannot.
Unfortunately.
But if you can, go to monkeyknifefight.com. And when you start your new account, use our promo code Vendetta, and they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You can't beat that. And they got stuff going on every day for every single sports event that's going on. I'm sure they're going to have something for the Hall of Fame game. Why the hell not? I don't care if it's preseason. Gamblers got to gamble, yo.
It's their time to shine, too.
That's right. It's Brucey's time to shine, baby. And make sure you also go to symbol.app where you can trade stocks in all of your favorite sim teams. And when they win, you make money. I am actually looking forward to the Jets doing something. Do I think Symbol should put something in for investing in Colby Covington? You know what? You couldn't pay me to put stock in Colby Covington. All right. I would rather
I think they did mention that, though. I want to say that they did mention like fighters in the future. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but
see, I would be all for it, but I would not put money on Colby Covington.
You go Mannion.
Wow.
Lillard, Gallinari over LeBron James.
Wow.
Somebody's a homer.
Someone is definitely homering it up. And you know what? I like that. I like the homerisms. I like those hot takes. Keep them coming. Show up next week. I want more hot takes. Oh, man, I love it. I love this. This is why I love doing this show live.
Okay, so they're talking a lot about Premier League stuff. That is something I really want to get into this coming Premier League.
Same here. I do too.
I plan on watching a ton of Premier League.
When does Premier League start?
I want to say it's this month or next month. I can't remember.
All right. I'm going to start doing Premier League stuff.
Italian guy. Gotcha.
You're an Italian
Makes sense. Makes sense.
That makes sense. I'm going to start watching Premier League. All right, Italian guy, give me a team to root for in Premier League. You get to pick Brian Tann's Premier League team.
August 15th. Okay, August 15th. Start of the Premier League.
12 days away. So I want our resident Italian to tell me who I should start rooting for in Premier League. Who am I supporting? I didn't say you, Trey. I want the actual Italian. Fair enough. Fine.
Trey's family's from Sicily.
Yeah, you're not Italian. You're Sicilian. Isn't there? There's a difference. Big difference there.
There may be I don't know. Man City, Chelsea. Listen, Chelsea does have the advantage. They do have Captain America on their team.
Oh, wow. Chris Evans is playing hockey? Is playing football?
No, Christian Pulisic.
I don't even know who that is.
You
said Captain America, and I got excited.
No. I mean, that's what people call him. They call him Captain America because he's like he is like the biggest American soccer player that is actually succeeding overseas. Yeah, Chelsea won the Champions League, and then like a week later, he hit the game-winning goal to beat Mexico in a Gold Cup win or a cup win. So.
All right, so I should be
Arsenal fan. Okay,
so I should be I should be rooting for Arsenal.
Trey, here you go. You got another Celtics fan in the chat.
How do I know that that's not Trey on a VPN on another browser?
Listen.
Is Trey?
Do we think Trey could do that?
Yes.
Do we think that? See,
Trey is not above that.
Well,
Trey
no. I'm talking about. Does he have the capabilities of getting on a VPN? Trey, do you even know what a VPN is? That's what I want to know. Answer me that. Do you know what a VPN is?
Yeah. Venereal penis.
There you go. See, not a clue.
Fair enough.
He doesn't know what a VPN. This is the same guy that was commenting in our podcast and on other streams that we do with the official Vendetta account because he's like, I don't remember how to log into my actual account.
I love it.
Trey's burner.
Oh, hashtag Trey's burner is going gold. All right, but I'm actually, here's the thing though, Joe Compton. I am committing to sports. So I'm going to have a busy freaking fall, man. All right, and real quick before we go, because we are going to sign off, the Giants have reached a deal for Chris Bryant from the Cubs. The Yankees have acquired Heaney from the Angels. Braves acquired Soler from the Royals. Cardinals picked up Lester and Happ in late deals. Gibson and Kennedy are going to the Phillies from the Rangers. Mets picked up Baez from the Cubs. White Sox picked up Cabral from the Cubs. Wow, some inner city stuff going on. I love it. Mm-hmm. The Blue Jays have acquired Barrios from the Twins. Brewers finalized a deal for Norris from the Tigers. Braves got Rosario from Cleveland in a trade. Duvall going to the Braves from the Marlins for Jackson. Schwarber's going to the Red Sox. The Dodgers got Max Scherzer and Turner.
Yeah.
Wow. The Dodgers just done bought themselves another championship. Rizzo's going to the Yankees. Duffy is going to the Dodgers, and the Blue Jays picked up Hand from the Nationals. All right.
Exactly, Trey. Yes.
You know what? Fine. I'll do more baseball talk next week with Josh Taylor. Maybe Josh Taylor will put me in my place again when it comes to baseball.
But hey,
what do you care anymore? You're a hockey guy now.
Well, baseball was his job. He did have a job in baseball.
Yeah, but he's not. But now this is his thing, and he's hockey guy now. You can't sit there and market yourself as hockey guy, then piss and moan when baseball is the lowest form.
And it's really funny. It's like the big players that got traded from the Cubs. Like so far in their limited amount of time with their new teams, they've all have been fantastic with their new teams. It's really funny. Like, Chris Bryant, he homers. Anthony Rizzo homers. I mean, and into the era for the Cubs, the team that ended the 100-year drought. It's gone now. It's over.
That's true.
We'll see it. We'll see it in
another 100 years,
in the 22nd century. Chicago fans.
Yeah, the Cubs aren't winning another one. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I'm a Pirates fan. The Pirates are out as soon as the first pitch is thrown in April. So whatever. All right. So with that, we're out of time. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. Thanks for blowing up the comments. Make sure you tune in with us every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk all of it. Do a Schwarber Boston impression real quick. Yeah, well, I don't know what you're talking about there, kid. I don't know what you're talking about.
Haba.
Yeah, Schwarber. Schwarber. Yeah, firefighters. Schwarber. I almost went into a Departed chant. And it's like, yeah, that's not very PC. I almost went into a Matt Damon playing rugby against the firefighters. Hey, listen, Mrs. Kennefic, I went to school with Miles. He was a couple years behind me. Okay? Someone did something bad to your son. Yeah, how's your father doing? He's tired from fucking my mother. Schwaba. I love Boston accents, man.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about a Boston accent is that it's not too far away from a Yinzer accent.
A Yinzer.
The only difference between a Boston accent and a Yinzer accent is that Boston has more of the Irish, where the Yinzer has a lot of that Dutch Irish with German thrown in. Oh, I'm the guy that does his fucking job. You must be the other guy. I'm gonna start ending out all shows with a Boston accent. I think that's gonna be my shtick right there. I'm gonna start saying things in a bad Boston accent. Schwab.
Oh, what a great podcast.
Because it's Brucey's time to shine, baby. It's Brucey's time to shine. All right. So thanks so much to our sponsors, Monkey Knife Fight, Symbol, and especially XP Coffee Company. Haba.
Ka.
Yeah, we're going to get in the car.
See the socks.
Why do I always have to sit in the back seat of the car? Because Will sits in the front seat. So sit in the back, bitch.
Stop it.
How do you like them apples? In the car.
I can't even say that word in regular English.
Worcester. Yeah, see, I lived in New England, so I can say Worcester. In Dorchester. In Worcester.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not Worcester, it's Worcester.
There's a place down the road from me. It's called Hooker. Anyway, continue.
Oh, yeah. The
Hooker and Possum Grape.
The Hooker hoe bags.
Hooker and Possum Grape.
We'll be back next week with special guest Josh Taylor, as long as his schedule allows. And in 2 weeks, we're gonna have Garrett and Joe Compton on here. We're gonna be talking some professional wrestling. I'm gonna be wrestling. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Join us next week, 6:30 p.m. Later.